To have the race here and to showcase South Africa, I think it's pretty incredible. It's such a special place with so much to offer.
First time I started doing rallies, I already thought, I was like, South Africa will be the perfect place for rallies.
We are a big motorsport country.
I hope we have the local advantage.
It's amazing being back at home and being here. The language is familiar. You hear Afrikaans speaking people around, which is something you never get when you're racing abroad.
Welcome to the South African Safari Rally, where the big beasts of Rally Raid are preparing to do battle. This is round 3 of the World Rally Raid Championship, and it promises to be a wild ride.
I think it's going to be really tricky. I think the navigation is going to play a huge role, and looking forward to how the sand specialists enjoy the South African bushveld.
The terrain's going to be a little bit more tricky than we expected. It's not going to be so easy with the navigation. I think it's going to be really tight.
It's not going to be a walk in the park, that's for sure. But I think all in all, it's going to be really close racing. So I think it's going to be fun for everyone.
I was expecting wider tracks, so I think it will be challenging.
In the Rally GP class, the best of the best are here from Hero, Honda, Sherco and KTM. And there's no question about the man to beat, Daniel Sanders, who has gone 2 from 2 in 2025, although he says the championship is far from run.
It's too early. We've got a lot of days and a lot of racing to do, so I think we'll do good. This terrain's good for me, and I'm very comfortable here, so hopefully we can kick it off that way.
He kicked it off very well indeed, showing that he has no intention of sharing the glory this year. Sanders taking victory on the prologue and on stage 2 to move into the overall lead. Tosha Sharina began the week as Chucky's closest rival in the W2RC, and the Spaniard was looking to close the 17-point gap at the top. However, disaster struck on stage 1 as he crashed, damaging his Honda and his left hand, and he was forced to withdraw from the rally. Reigning world champion Ross Branch has had a tough 2025, failing to finish the Dakar or the Abu Dhabi Desert Challenge. But he's delighted to be here with the #1 plate, just a stone's throw from his home in Botswana. The Kalahari Ferrari took the honours on stage 1, becoming the early leader, but his ill fortune returned with a vengeance on stage 2.
Just unlucky. I hit a big bird and broke the oil cooler, and now there's no oil left in the bike.
Well, Branch losing over an hour and a half and dropping out of overall contention. But despite this being a marathon stage, he was able to repair and get going again, even coming 3rd the following day. Well, this was a big week for Bradley Cox, not only riding in his native South Africa, but also making his debut as a fully fledged factory rider for the Sherco team.
It's a lifelong dream, and to be in this position now, it's the work only just starts now. You know, like we got to this point now. It's really to make it count.
Of course, it will take Brad some time to adapt to the new bike, so he wasn't quite able to stay with the front runners. He ended up 7th in Rally GP. Well, Nacho Cornejo was also a little off the pace here in South Africa on tracks that are very different to what he's used to, the Chilean quickly dropping out of contention. Well, Honda still had 3 cards to play after Sharina's withdrawal. Ricky Brabeck was up there pushing hard, sometimes a bit too hard, and so too was Adrian van Beveren. With 2 stages to go, they were separated by just over a minute and fighting for a podium spot. Skylar Howes, though, dropped out of contention due to early navigation mistakes.
It's rally, and there's a lot of unknown out there, so just try to stay on the right side of the fences and not go through the trees.
But ultimately, KTM were laying down the law. Sanders untouchable as he reeled off 3 stage wins in a row, tightening his grip on first place. His teammate Luciano Benavides was also performing admirably. The Argentine on course for a first podium this year after coming 4th at the Dakar and the Abu Dhabi Desert Challenge. Well, he did indeed finish 2nd overall, holding off Brabeck and Van Beveren, but Sanders was simply in a league of his own. 3 wins out of 3 for this 2025 season.
we'll try for that perfect season. Why not? We're 3 wins in a row, and yeah, let's try and get 2 more. That'd be a pretty cool way to finish a World Championship.
Sanders leads by 35 points now, and he could wrap up the title in Portugal. KTM lead the manufacturers' standings by 22 points. The World Cup leader in Rally 2, Tobias Ebster, has also stepped up to the professional ranks, joining Branch and Cornejo on the hero team. The Austrian says it's a dream come true. Well, all eyes in South Africa were on local favourite Michael Doherty, although he admitted he was expecting a few surprises this week. He won the prologue but then had various issues on stage 1, starting late due to illness and getting a penalty, and then suffering a big crash. Well, that allowed Edgar Canet to seize control of the class, the Spanish rising star winning the first 3 stages to open up a big lead. And ultimately, there was no stopping the young Spaniard, who's clearly keen to mix it up with the big boys. His final margin of victory was more than 15 minutes.
Yeah, super happy. In Dakar, we make it a really good job. We deserve it there. Super happy with that. And win the Rally 2 is really good.
Although it's Ebster who won the final stage, who still leads the World Cup. Only 3 points in it. It's game on with 2 rounds to go. Teams-wise, Bass World KTM still lead the way. The CF Moto Thunder Racing team continued their domination in the quads. Gaetan Martinez won 3 stages and the prologue as he beat his teammate Antanas Kanopkinas by 22 minutes. It's their second 1-2 after Abu Dhabi. The 2 teammates are locked on 45 points at the top of the rankings. Nasser al-Attiyah is undoubtedly the king of the savannah on 4 wheels, but the World Championship leader is up against enemies foreign and domestic this week. The start list is a who's who of rally raid royalty, featuring the top drivers in the business, although one notable absentee is the injured Dakar winner, Yazid Al-Raji.
I was talking to them right after the accident, and I'm glad they are okay, and speed recovery to them. Yeah, now we are 3rd overall in the championship. We are quite close now from Yazid and from Nasser, so we need to do a good result for the team for sure.
It will be difficult, for everyone. Race is quite fast and tricky, but I try to make a more gap, for the championship, and will be my target.
Many potential winners, so interesting. Yeah, hopefully we can have a good run. But until we don't start the race, we don't know really what we will find.
In the early days, the South Africans were keen to stake out their turf. Guy Bottrill was the fastest man from the W2RC on the prologue, and he then roared from deep in the field to take the honours on stage 2, winning that day ahead of his SV Racing teammate, Saud Variawa. Well, Henk Laterken was making his first outing since the Dakar, where he was narrowly beaten by Al-Raji, but no signs of rust as he took stage 1 for his new team, Toyota Gazoo Racing. Well, most drivers were racing in South Africa for the first time, although Laterken's teammate Lucas Moraes did draw parallels with his home country of Brazil. Having flown under the radar in the early days of the rally, he found himself within a minute of the lead after stage 3. And what about the championship frontrunner al-Attiyah? Well, he made a big push on stage 2 and briefly took the rally lead, but a 15-minute penalty for missing a waypoint dealt his overall hopes a major blow. His Dacia teammate Sebastian Loeb was faring better despite some issues on the prologue. The Frenchman top of the pile after stage 3 as he looked to finish his first rally of 2025.
We are leading the rally. That was a surprise at the end of the day, but it's a good news. So we'll know it's still 2 long days to go, but at the moment it's going well.
The Ford Raptors were also on the hunt, with Carlos Sainz and Nani Roma both making their first outing since the Dakar, and El Matador quickly found his rhythm with 2 second places, putting him 2nd overall after the marathon. But a tough 4th stage ended his hopes of victory. Guillaume de Mévius was defending third place on the final day, but overheating issues cost him 9 minutes and dropped him down to 9th place overall. Seth Quintero also had issues on stage 5, an untimely puncture ending his podium hopes. He is now 4th in the W2RC standings. And their losses were Lucas Moraes' gain, the Brazilian enjoying a clean run on the final day to finish 3rd, his 2nd straight podium after Abu Dhabi. Overall victory came down to a scrap between Latterken and Loeb, separated by 39 seconds at the start of stage 5, and it was the South African who came out on top after a titanic tussle. The home hero was a fitting winner for this magnificent first edition of the Safari Rally.
To get our first W2RC round win is also such a good feeling, and we're not too far off. There's still a chance, and we'll really push for the next 2 rounds.
Al-attiyah remains on top in the W2RC, but Latterken's back in contention after he missed Abu Dhabi, and after their excellent week, Toyota Gazoo Racing are the team to beat. This is definitely not how you want to start a rally raid. Dania Akil finishing on 3 wheels due to a mechanical failure in her Taurus T3 Max. Luckily, it was on the prologue where the times aren't taken and she would fight on. There were only 7 crews in the Challenger class this week, but it was a strong field, led by the Dakar winner and W2RC frontrunner Nicolas Cavigliasso, and the Argentine took the honours on stage 2. But it was his compatriot David Zile who seized control of the rally on stage 1, and he never relinquished his grip, beating Cavigliasso by just over 3.5 minutes. Winning a round of the championship is huge for us. We fought hard for this trophy and now we've got it. It's amazing for us and for all the people who support us, everybody who's put their faith in us. This is for all of them. Cavigliasso increasing his championship lead over Pau Navarro to 31 points. In the SSVs, it was all about the scrap between Alexander Pinto and Enrico Gaspari, who, as soon as they jump out of the car, are good friends. Well, Portuguese driver Pinto had a roller coaster start to the rally. He won the prologue and then lost over an hour and a half on stage 1 due to a damaged suspension arm. Luckily, they were able to finish and they bounced back in style on stage 2 with another victory. Gaspari also had his fair share of drama, suffering huge time losses on stage 3, but he did finish on a high note with victory on stage 5. The overall triumph went to another Portuguese driver, Mario Franco, who had a very consistent week in his Can-Am Maverick R. Pinto leads Gaspari by 19 points before his home round in Portugal, and we can't wait to see you there in September. Thanks to our competitors, thanks to South Africa for this amazing safari rally, and thanks to all of you for watching.